Welcome back to another episode of the Westward Podcast. I'm your host, Devin Conley, and today my guest is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend. John Wayne couldn't be here, so Mo Forbes is, and he was a PRCA Saddle Bronc rider. He's a family man. He's a rancher. He's kind of just a top hand all the way around, and really grateful that you're here today, Mo. Thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Devin. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I was telling you earlier, the intro is always kind of awkward for people. They sit there and listen to all these nice things about them, but you're the real deal. I mean, you absolutely are. And I think anybody around these parts or Wyoming, Nebraska, like your reputation stretches quite a ways in terms of how deeply cemented in the cowboy industry you are. And you're kind of a legend in a lot of ways. So like I said, really excited we're chatting. And I always say I like to just start at the beginning. So you hail from Kaycee, Wyoming, right? And your dad and your brother also kind of legends in the industry. Can you just kick us off by telling us how you grew up a little bit? Just kind of give us the rundown on your childhood.
Sure, you bet. A legend that might be stretching it a little bit. I feel. What I mean is, the one thing about what we do and how I grew up and stuff is, as soon as you start thinking that you're something special, it's very humbling. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I appreciate the kind words, but yeah, I'm nothing special and dang sure not a legend. But we did
Don't
grow up in AC, so that makes me a legend. That's a cool country, unique country. Um, the people are probably what make it unique and stuff. But yeah, we grew up in Kaycee, just cowboy kids. Not a lot to do there. Small town, 250 people. And my dad started a lot of colts after rodeoing. He made the NFR 5 times, and he is a bronc man through and through. And that's how he raised my brother and I is riding colts and bucking horses. That's it.
Heck yeah. Okay. I didn't know your dad made the NFR that many times. Was that in the saddle bronc riding too?
Yeah, yep, in the saddle bronc riding. And I'd like to tell you what years. Um, I think he was the rookie of the year in '69, and then made it 5 times scattered through the '70s there.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. That's really cool. Yeah, KC, that is cool country up there. And you were just born into the industry. Like you said, you did this is just how you grew up. You didn't really know anything different. When did you kind of start getting into the rodeo stuff? Were you pretty young or were you just riding colts at home and then you decided you want to hit the road, or what was the evolution there?
Yeah, so really young. You know, one thing that's unique about Kaycee, Wyoming is the amount of cowboys that are around that country that either have rodeoed or are rodeoing. When I was young, Chris Ledoux was around there, Larry Sandvik and them guys were around there. So it wasn't uncommon to have 3 or 4 NFR cowboys at the dinner table, and they were going to be bucking bulls after we got done eating. You know what I mean? Me and my brother would strap a rope on them, and it was rodeo around the clock at our outfit.
That's so cool. And I won't use the word legend, but like that, there are a lot of very iconic names there, and you just kind of grew up around those people like Chris Ledoux and other NFR guys were just hanging around.
Yeah, the Ledoux family's been great to me. They've been friends for forever. Um, Larry Sandvik, like I said, the NFR Cowboys were around us nonstop. It was a very unique upbringing.
Yeah, that's like a cowboy dream, I think, for a lot of people that are, in this lifestyle, but maybe not that deeply rooted in it. The Forbes roots run deep for sure in the cowboy culture. And was your dad raised up there too?
Yeah, yep, yeah. The family ranch right out Barnum there, right on Beaver Creek.
Okay, and it's still the same spot?
Yep,
That's cool.
yep.
Yeah. So, when did you get your card or your permit then for the PRCA and really kind of start going down the road?
got my card when I was 18 and went hard since I got my card. Started out on my permit and I got lucky and drew some good horses right out of the gate. And ended up making the circuit finals on my permit. And then I bought my card the following year and went hard that year. Got out of high school early so I could hit the road.
Okay, how'd you get out of high like, what do you mean you got out of high school early?
Graduated early. I the last 2 semesters I'd skipped. I guess I had enough credits or whatnot that I didn't need to show up, which school wasn't my deal anyway. I pretty slow thinker, had my eye on some goals that I wanted to accomplish and pretty one-sided as far as how my thinking was.
Yeah, and was that ride bucking horses or just cowboying in general?
Riding bucking horses at that time. At that time, cowboying was definitely on the back burner, and I really didn't enjoy it. Like my brother, especially after Dad got done rodeo, and he started a ton of 30 and 60-day colts, and my brother would help out more than I would. But when we got old enough to help out, we were riding a lot of colts and helping Dad. And so by the time we kind of had some freedom to hit the road and get away from that, I think all of us were ready to do that. I hated horsemanship for a long time. It's kind of the rodeo cowboy deal. I would rather be out riding broncs and playing than staying home and working.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. And I mean, I'm jumping ahead here, which I don't want to go too far ahead, but now like the horsemanship, the training and making these really nice horses, you're very good at that. And you do that a lot now, right? So it kind of came full circle in a way.
Yeah, kind of out of necessity, you know what I mean? Like you said, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but after I got done rodeoing, man, I didn't have nothing but a bunch of debt. Financially broke, physically broke, mentally probably broke. And so I just had to go back to what I knew, what Dad gave us, which was a little bit of work ethic and a little bit of knowledge. And so, yeah, the last 12, 13 years, been riding a lot of colts, trying to get good at horsemanship. And later on in my rodeo career, I was interested in it too. I probably kind of got back into horsemanship when I was 25, 26. Tried to make some decent bridle horses and stuff like that. And horsemanship isn't something that came easy for me. Riding broncs, I feel, did come pretty easy for me. I had a lot of natural talent. I had a lot of people helping me out, trying to making sure that I could take that goal as far as it would let me, you know what I mean? And horsemanship was a little bit different, you know what I mean? I had to work extremely hard on that, and there'd been times when nobody else was around and you still had to work, you know, when nobody's looking. And maybe that's when your best work's done.
That's good. That's a very good point. But I think you could apply that to horsemanship and just a lot of things. Like when nobody's looking, you still got to be doing the hard work to get the end result that everybody's then going to notice. So that's really good. So back to, you know, you're 18, 19, whatever, heading down the road. Who was kind of your mentor? Did you have, I'm sure you had a few, but who really stands out in your mind as kind of your mentor as you're getting started in your bucking horse career?
You bet. Clint Johnson always was an idol of my brother and I's. Scott Johnson, the Australian man, he rode good. The Ep Bowers, Brad Germanson, Mel Highland. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. Bill Smith, Rick Smith, just the old school tough bronc guys. You know what I mean? My dad included. My dad was a hero of mine, still is.
Yeah. That's cool. That's quite the roster of names that are pretty iconic. And as you're kind of going down the road and hitting these rodeos. I don't know. I feel like as somebody who grew up listening to Chris Ledoux cassettes, going down the road to our own high school, junior college rodeos and everything, like in my dad's pickup, that life just seemed like a movie almost, right? But you lived it. Like you very much lived that. Can you just kind of talk a little bit about what that's like? I mean, I know there's probably a lot of sleeping in the car and entering up on your last few dollars and all the stuff like Chris was saying about, but what was your experience there?
Man, is the reason he sang about it is because he lived it and he knew about it and the, that's what he sang about is spot on what it is. Like there'd have been times where one that kind of sticks out is we got a Learjet over the 4th of July and we worked like 9 rodeos in 4 days or something like that. We were everywhere. And then that next week, that's like Vernal and Laramie and all those. And we had somebody pick us up from the airport in like a little Datsun pickup with no heater or with no AC. I mean, the heater was always on. It's 115 degrees. And we got 4 guys stacked in a Datsun pickup and we just got out of a Cessna Citation. And that's pretty much your rodeo business. You know what I mean? It's you're everybody thinks it's like you're a rock star, but really you're somewhere in between the carnies and the homeless. That's kind of the rodeo business.
Yeah, that's funny because I do feel like it gets kind of glamorized a lot of the time, and people think that maybe have an experience that they do think it's kind of this romantic. Well, I think cowboying in general, right? Like that it's this romantic way of life, and in a lot of ways, it's not. It's tough living, right?
It can be, but I think that's what makes it good is you appreciate um the luxury when it's there and you appreciate the AC when you don't have one.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. What was kind of your favorite rodeo that really sticks in your mind as one of your favorites to go to?
Man, I got a bunch of them. I always like Tucson, because you were just coming out of the winter rodeos, Houston, San Antonio, Denver, Fort Worth, Rapid, and all the little indoor barns. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say they were stadiums, but you were indoor.
Yeah.
And then Tucson, the horses really bucked there, seemed like, and the sun was shining, and it was great. I always look forward to Tucson, Pendleton, Calgary. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of really good ones that all have their their thing, I guess.
That's cool. And again, as like my roots are rodeo, so this is just fascinating for me to hear. And I never obviously tried to go pro or anything, and so all these big name rodeos are like this stuff of dreams. Like Pendleton, what was that like? You know, the Green Mile there for the barrel racers is pretty incredible. But what was it like riding at Pendleton?
It was really cool. It's one of the only rodeos that are they buck them on the grass. You know what I mean? So that's cool. The track's still up. It has that old school feel. One of the main reasons that I loved going to Pendleton was you stayed at the Sevier Brothers Saddlery up there at the bunkhouse, and all them old timers are up there. They're playing guitars. They're singing. You've got hundreds of years worth of rodeo experience up there, and like the walls are all covered with old rodeo pictures of people that you idolized growing up. Pendleton was really special because it had that old school feel, and that's something that I really liked. Canada has that for the bronc riding and stuff like that. It's like down here in the States, your big rodeos, heck, like through the winter and stuff, you might have you Beyonce playing, and during a halftime or afterwards or whatnot. And it seemed like I always appreciated the old school cowboy feel a little bit more than the rock star glamour type of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that about Calgary. What you said that you kind of came home a little broken in a lot of ways, and I'm without a doubt riding bucking horses is not easy on the body. What kind of injuries did you suffer that? And I guess I asked that, like, did it affect your career? Is it part of why you decided to kind of get out of rodeoing in general?
Yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? Like I had a wife and a little girl at that time. Um, wasn't winning. Um, a lot, my share of surgeries, broken bones, and uh, it just it felt like time for me, I guess.
Yeah. What kind of surgeries did you end up having?
I broke my leg really bad. Both shoulders I broke pretty bad and tore up pretty bad. Um, some broken ribs, punctured lungs, dislocated stuff. But like it sounds like a lot, but that was over, 12, 15 years of trying to make a living riding broncs. You know what I mean? It's, if you do it for a living and you do it long enough, that's just kind of part of the deal.
Yeah. You say that like it's not a lot, but that does sound like quite the string of injuries. I'm sure you still feel some of those today.
Yeah, maybe I should have rode better.
You're right. This is your fault, Mo. No, gosh. What was the goal always to make the top 10, top 20 NFR?
Yeah, uh my goal was to make the finals every year, be a world champion. I wanted to win Calgary. Um and I overstepped every goal that was smaller than that. And that's one thing I would have changed. Like I had a lot of people that wanted to help me and reached out to help me, and I bypassed a couple steps, you know what I mean? So, and what I mean by that, like one example would be Rick Smith offered me a really good scholarship to come and rodeo for him through college. You know what I mean? I could have had a college deal. Um, not so much for the education, because like where I was at and where I thought I was going and stuff, education wasn't my deal. But that would have given me a couple more years to maybe mature a little bit, really fine tune my bronc riding, which I felt like I was at a high level then, and so I hit the road. I was lucky enough to win the Rookie of the Year when I was a senior in high school, and that was a an honor. So I thought I was ready, and I was ready physically. I thought I rode good, but I didn't have it all figured out mentally yet.
Okay. So the mental game definitely plays a role then, huh? What does that mean?
Well, so like for me, I was naturally bronc riding come easy for me. I had a lot of natural talent, and I knew how to win, and I won quite a bit when I first started and stuff like that. What I didn't know how to do is lose. And when you do that stuff for a living, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be bad days, there's going to be hard knocks, and if I think if I would have given myself a little bit more time to figure out how to lose and how to train properly, uh, I think I maybe would have had a more successful career. But um, that's all stuff. Everybody that gets done with it looks back and would have done something different. That's what I would have done different is not been in such a hurry to get to the top. I'd have took my time and made sure that I was um, ready for what the sport had to offer.
Yeah. And again, that feels like a lesson that can be applied to a lot of things, like training horses,
Yeah.
starting colts, anything, right? Like when you get in a hurry to get finished up, miss out on a lot of steps along it, would you say?
Absolutely. And like I said, now I've got a little bit of age on me and look at things a lot different than I did when I was 18, 20 years old. You know what I mean? Back then it was all about accomplishing a goal. It was all about winning, uh, stuff like that. And now looking back, heck, it's all about the process to get there. It's um you can't get in too big a hurry to make a bridle horse or you'll miss the process. And that's the fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's the journey. And a lot, if we always just skip to the end of everything, like life would be pretty short. We
Yeah.
skip over all the good things. Yeah. So I guess back now we're back to kind of where we were talking just a little bit ago, 12, 13 years. Now you're kind of wrapped up the rodeo career and you're getting into training horses. Is that what you stepped into the next then, is kind of just some starting colts and some cowboying?
Yeah. Yeah. When I quit rodeoing, um, we had credit card debt that was sky high, student loan debt. Me and my wife were in debt. We had a little townhouse there and we built some trails um, behind that. And I went to riding colts out of there and she was teaching school and we just started whittling away at some debt. But um, yeah, I'd guide hunters in the fall for my brother and for Matt Birch, met him through rodeo and stuff like that. And those guys have paid a lot of bills for me and kept me afloat.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of everything there. Did you enjoy the cult starting at this point, or were you kind of just doing it to get by? Or did you start to find joy in it, I guess?
Um, it, it's always good for me to start young horses and stuff like that because I feel like there's purpose in that work. It makes me feel good when I see improvement, and I for me personally, I need purpose in my life where I get to um depressed, I guess. So yeah, there's purpose in that kind of work. But at the time, I didn't I wasn't thinking, man, this is great because I kind of felt like a failure on how my rodeo career turned out. Like I couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay going. I made the finals in '05, went out to Vegas. That was a great experience. Um, Wish I would have took care of some business out there a little bit better, but that's the way she works. And yeah, I wish like 16th to 18th was kind of my spot. They take the top 15 to the finals, and it feels like man, I was just 16th to 18th. Like I just could not. At the end of the day, couldn't make a living at it. You know what I mean? When you're rodeoing that hard to make it and then not make it, it's pretty hard to keep money in your account.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm sure the mindset part kind of plays a role there. The mental game of just being like one out, that can wear on you, I would think.
At the beginning, it was like, man, we're getting close, we'll get there. And then towards the end, is like, man, I haven't made the finals in a handful of years, and I'm 17th, and this sucks. Like, what do I got to do? You know what I mean? And I went through a long time there where I wouldn't fly. Flying terrified me. I mean, I would not on an airplane. Um, Matter of fact, the first year I went rodeoing, I missed the NFR by a couple $100 because I didn't get on an airplane in Denver and fly out to the Cow Palace in the short round. And heck, it might have bucked me off. It might not have cost me nothing. But that was a time that I wish I would have um, got on an airplane and made something happen. But my anxiety and fear of that was it was legit. So for me, it was like, man, I can't do it. I cannot do it. So I didn't do it. And then a couple of years down the road, Larry Sandbeck pulled me aside. He's like, man, you got to get over this flying deal. It ain't that big a deal. You got to face your fears and kind of get over it. So my dad hooked me up with Jim Purdy out of Buffalo, and he flew us, me and Bryce and a couple other guys over the 4th of July. And we give me flying lessons. So when we were home, I'd call Jim and he'd take me up in a 185 and we'd do some stalls and just play around and stuff like that. And I fly now. It kind of got me over the hump, but yeah, that was one step in the career that's kind of a double-edged sword. In one aspect, it controlled me for a long time, and in another aspect that I faced my fear and kind of got over the hump there a little bit.
Yeah. As somebody who also I didn't get on an airplane until like my 20s because I was also terrified of flying, just not interested. Also terrified of cruises. I watched Titanic as a child, way too young, never got on a cruise ship. But I mean, I get that. Like it is a true paralyzing fear. And you're climbing on these broncs and the plane is the crux of the issue. I fully understand that. Like at least you have some control over here, right? On these horses and the plane, you have no control. But what a cool opportunity to kind of work through that with somebody like that. That's quite the
Yeah.
story. That's really, really interesting.
If you don't have that kind of fear or anxiety or whatever they call it, if you don't, if like everybody has something, and if that ain't your deal, you don't quite understand what that guy's going through. But like everybody has a quirk somewhere. That was my.
That's just it. Absolutely. And they're lying if they say they don't. Like, I don't know. I don't care if it's clowns or snakes or planes. Like somebody, you got to hang up somewhere. Absolutely.
I,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. Now I'm going back again. Sorry. '05 finals, 10 rides in Vegas. How was that? By the 10th ride, were you just flat bore out? Was it kind of what you expected? Can you just briefly talk about that experience?
Yeah, it was good. It was what I was expecting. I got on some good broncs out there, won a little bit of money. Wish I would have won a little bit more. I was probably like everybody else that went out there. You know what I mean? They probably wish they would have rode better and won more and that sort of stuff. So um, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I made it once. I put a lot of effort into making it once, and I shouldn't be so down on my career as I am, maybe, but uh, yeah, I'm glad I made it once.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'd be humans if we didn't have some sort of hindsight where we, look back and would do things a little different. But also, I just have to wonder how many, guys along the way that you had a huge impact on that you probably don't even know a lot of them at this point. Do you keep in touch with a lot of the guys that you rodeoed with back then?
Just a handful, that's one thing about the rodeo business. You're going to learn, um, you'll meet all kinds of people, and that's really unique. You know what I mean? But if you can walk away from anything and just have a handful of good, solid friends, you done pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. With anything. So, at what point did you and the family kind of start getting into running your own cows and kind of where you're at today with your outfit and the Y3 and what you've built up today, which is I think very impressive what you guys have built up. I know it took a lot of years, and a lot of hard work and a lot of 30-day colts, I'm assuming.
Yeah, a lot of 30-day colts for sure. But my father-in-law kind of brought that deal to me. They were living with us there in Pine Bluffs, and uh, there was a place for sale in Kimball, Nebraska, kind of a horse facility, indoor barn, some trails. Um, and he's like, "This place is for sale," and I was like, "Man, that would that'd help out." And so we partnered up and bought this place, and I went to work, instead of riding 5 or 6 a day, or I was riding 15 to 20 a month. You know what I mean? It was, um, we got in a lot of debt, but we had a job and we had a business, and away it went. So the colt starting business was up and running and going good. We were riding a lot of horses and getting our payments made. Um, and then there was an opportunity to buy a forest lease outside of Laramie, in between Laramie and Cheyenne, for a couple hundred head of mother cows. Um, so we bought into that, and it just so happened that the timing was kind of right. You know what I mean? And then, as the good Lord taking care of me, um, there was I asked a rancher, the Toby Kimsey, he owned the Y Cross Ranch, just purchased the Y Cross Ranch, if he needed an outfitter or what his plans were. And he said, "Heck, if you want it, you got it." So I got an outfitting business up and going, which I've been guiding and hunting my entire life, working for people, and he gave me an opportunity to have my own business, and that business kind of floated the cow business for a long time, um, and here we are today. We got some cows paid for, and our place is paid for, and it's been a long time coming, but it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine how good that must feel. And you guys worked for it, absolutely. And it sounds like you had to scrap a lot of the way, but I think that kind of shows what you can do if you're willing to put in a lot of hard work and you don't give up easy. And also, when you look back now and kind of see how the puzzle pieces came together, is it pretty cool to see how God kind of directed your footsteps to things and brought it all together?
Yeah, he took care of me when I didn't have any idea about him. That's for sure. But I mean, it's either him or same as the rodeo business. There is a ton of people around this country that have helped me put things together and give me opportunities, and give me chances. Like whoever said they did it on their own, they're lying to themselves.
Yeah, none of us are an island. Anybody that's made anything or not, it's been a community effort, village effort for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I had good friends rodeoing, that were kind of idling out of their career the same time as I had these opportunities. And they would come and anytime you're starting, 15 to 20 colts a month, um, you can't do it by yourself. And I had a lot of good friends come stay at the house and help me get the business up and going. I had a lot of good friends help me get my outfitting business up and going. You know what I mean? I've had a couple really good kids help me with the cow business. It's just, man, I just looking back, I can't thank those people enough. They've made my glue sticky for sure.
yeah. Yeah, and I it's pretty cool though, and I hope that you do know that, you have that impact on a lot of people now, and that you're kind of paying that forward, if you wanna call it that, with a lot of people that I personally know and myself. I mean, I talk about on this podcast all the time about, like, being in the branding pin for the first time last year and getting help from a community. Well, folks, this is one of the community members that I'm, like, very blessed to have found within this incredible group of people, and, I think you're kind of a mentor in a lot of ways, especially to some of the younger guys that are in that part of the world, that part of the country, and they're not sitting home playing video games. They're out working and they're working hard. What has that been like finding yourself kind of in that mentor role?
I I guess I've never really looked at myself as a mentor. I guess I just like working with good people alongside good people. It's like the people that come and help me, um, keep my businesses up and going. I don't look at it as they work for me or I'm the boss or nothing like that. It's we're working together to make this deal work.
Yeah.
So I don't know about mentor, but there's a saying out there that the only person that wants you to be better than them is your dad. And I don't know if that's quite right. If you're hanging out with a group of people that don't want you to be better than them or give you the tools to be better than them, I think you're probably hanging out with the wrong group.
Yeah. I've heard you say that. And also, like, if you're the best one around in the group, you need to go find other people to hang out with because you
Right.
can't get better if you're the best always.
That's for sure. Yeah. And in this line of work out, that changes day to day. I mean, sometimes you rope good, sometimes you don't.
Don't I know it? Yeah. So with the kind of the horsemanship piece, because I think you still take on some colts, but also, like you said, you enjoy making the bridle horses and kind of the finish horses too. What are some things you've learned in that journey? Like making and I guess that these things could be taken metaphorically, but I'm genuinely asking, like, in the situation of making a finished horse, making a nice bridle horse, what are some pretty important steps of that piece?
It's the same thing as everything, Devin. It takes time and it takes work. Um, it doesn't happen overnight. They all learn at their own pace. Um, you just keep working consistently at your goals and go at their pace, and pretty soon you're making progress. And then don't give up. Just keep showing up to work, and pretty soon your horses are better, and you're better. Your dogs are better. Just consistency and fairness. That's maybe a huge thing is fairness. You got to be fair to to the people around you. You got to be fair to the horses that are packing you around. It's not a dictatorship.
What does that look like? That's good. What does that look like, being fair to your horse?
For me, it's no different than being fair to your kids or anything else. If they don't know what I'm asking, I can't really punish them because they don't know their job. I got to be patient. I got to maybe present it in a different way. I got to work with them through that a little bit. Now, if they know what I'm asking and they give me the bird anyway, then that kind of gives me the green light that there's some consequences to that.
Sure.
For me, that's me being fair, I guess. If you know your job and you're screwing me, I might be pretty hard, but the punishment will fit the crime.
Right. Yeah. Cause like, I mean, especially with cowboying or any kind of line of work like that, your horse is your partner and your teammate, and you would expect your coworker to show up and do their job, and your horse is kind of like your coworker. So you do need him to show up for you, right?
Sure. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and amidst all this, like, you guys are raising these incredible kids, and your kids are awesome and just wonderful, wonderful human beings. What is what is that like, raising young ones in today's world? Are you trying to kind of bring them up in the cowboy culture like you were, or just kind of let them find their own way to it? How do you balance that?
Um, I don't know, Devin, you just feel your way through it. Parenting is tough.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think my kids do not have my childhood. I'll guarantee that. I mean, and I don't know if they have it better than me. To be honest with you, I don't think they do. My childhood was unbelievable. I mean, for a cowboy, that's the mountains and the hills were mine to roam. And when I was in town, I was riding bikes, and there was no such thing as a phone or a tablet or a computer. It was just you and your pards, and see it dark. You know what I mean? And that was cool. My kids, they've got the phones, they've got the tablets more than I'd like. I don't know. I think I have it better than them, I think.
Yeah. That's We have kind of painted ourselves in a corner in a lot of ways with all the technology that we have, and stripped away a lot of the lessons that those of us that grew up without that learned. And it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it impacts future generations, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But my kids, they like my oldest is allergic to horses. So every time she comes up to the barn, her eyes swell shut, and it's not that cool. So she's not up here very often.
Mm.
Um, my middle daughter and youngest, they like going with me from time to time and trailing some cows and brand, and they're up here running some barrels in the barn and roping the dummy, and it's fun. Like I said, it gives me purpose. I think just like starting colts or whatever else, I want my kids to succeed and be good people.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are really, really good people, and they're loving it. It seems like they're enjoying it. And I mean, sometimes I think people in a certain lifestyle, they have their kids, and then they really want their kids to be in that life, and maybe they force it a little harder, and then the kid kind of ends up hating it or resenting it. And it seems like yours just are really enjoying it, and they kind of found their way naturally there. So that's been cool.
It's it's the same for me. It's the same as everything else, Devin. It's about the process. As long as they're, um, Oakley, she's interested in track, and as long as she doesn't take it too serious and tries hard, that's all I care about. Addie Joe, she's into basketball. Um, there was, she takes it pretty serious. This family takes basketball pretty serious. Um, which is good. But
Yeah.
for me, um, I kind of seen what taking things too serious led to. So I want them to slow down and enjoy the process at the stage that they're at. I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty of time to take your sport serious. And 9-year-old basketball isn't the place to take it too serious.
Yeah, there are not college scouts in those stands for the middle.
I'm not even sure if college is the right place to take it serious. You're probably getting close, but man, there's the for sure the higher level you go, the more serious you probably better take it.
Yeah, but you gotta enjoy what you're doing, or why are you doing it? If you're pushing so hard that you're missing out on all the good parts of it, then why
Man,
are you here?
you'll see that a lot in wrestlers. You know, them guys that have been putting their life into wrestling since they're 3 years old. And I mean, some bad cats, and their senior year, they're done. They're burnt out. The
Yeah.
thought going on to college, not having any of it. I sat down in the hot tub the other day, 4-time state champ wrestler, Buffalo, Wyoming. I mean, a bad cat, and doesn't want nothing to do with it. He wants to go ride bareback horses, and good on him. But like you're 4-time state champ, you man, you got any opportunity you want. You know what I mean? You could go wrestle in college, maybe go on to the Olympics or the UFC or wherever. I mean, but I mean, to each their own too. I mean, if you're burnt out and don't want to do it, then that's awesome. Go do something
Yeah.
else.
Burnout's kind of a killer too. Like that can lead you down a bad path real fast, I think.
Yeah, I think it's something that you need to manage for sure. You need to have, um, I think you need to have a good bunch of people around you and a good game plan before it ever. You don't want to find yourself stuck in a burnout and be like, oh no, here I am. You know, you want to see it come and put in the work to avoid it. You know what I mean? Um, Bryce Miller was really good. Me and Bryce probably traveled more than anybody together. You know what I mean? My brother was in there with us a lot. Jeremy Ivy was in there with us a lot. But me and Bryce, we rodeoed a lot, just the two of us, and I think we did a good job of trying to pick each other up and make each other better. We never did sugarcoat anything. If we needed to hear something hard, we got it hard. And sometimes that's hard to take, but I'd rather be shot straight than patted on the back and told what I wanted to hear and have it not be the truth. The people around you can make you
100% or break you. Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I preach on this all the time. Like we just got to have community. You got to have good community. You got to have good people around you. And like you said, you got to have people that are willing to be honest with you. Because if they're just telling you what they think you want to hear, like you're never going to get better. You're never going to progress, and you're probably going to backslide.
Yeah, I mean it's you won't know what's right from wrong. You'll just go with the flow. You need some good friends that keep you checked up from time to time.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of good advice in this episode, but what would you tell? I don't want to limit it to just like young guys, young gals coming up that they want a rodeo or they want a cowboy or they want to be in the lifestyle, because I think a lot of this could be applied to a a larger group of people than that. So I guess I would say, what would you tell folks that want to get started either in rodeo or cowboying, or they're just trying to make their own way and they're kind of starting at the bottom? What's your advice for that crowd?
It doesn't matter what you want to do. Get around a good group of people that have kind of been there, done that, and stay humble. Ask them for help. I've rode with some of the best guys in the world. Brandon Butters, Les Vogt, Brian Billings. He's out there cowboying on the desert right now. They all have their different things that they bring to the table, and stay away from those people that don't want to give you the tools to be better than them. It's up to you to be better than them. You're going to have to put in the work without a doubt. But if somebody won't tell you how they got their horses that way, find somebody that will.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, Don't be the best one in the room, and don't hang around people that don't want you to be better.
Love Jesus, do jujitsu.
We didn't even talk about jujitsu yet. Oh man. Yep. Go find you a jujitsu gym.
That's right, a good one.
A good one. That's right. And wash your gi. You'll learn some important life lessons about hygiene.
Right.
Oh God. Well, Mo, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today and kind of share your insight, your story a little bit. I won't call you a legend again. I'm sorry. It's didn't like that, but I am genuinely very appreciative that you were willing to chat with me.
You bet. Anytime, Devin. Doors always open. We can darn sure do her again sometime.
And we will. And we will. Yeah. I know people are gonna love to hear your story here. Yeah. There's a lot more to talk about, and I would love that. So thank you very much. And for everybody listening, don't forget, you got to check your cinch, check on your friends. God is good. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for heading westward with us.